What's going on, traders? Welcome back to another trading recap video here today. So as you can see by the title, I'm finishing my day up at about $2,000 profit. At one point I was up 3,500, and then I got hammered on one trade, which then put me down to only $1,800 profit on the day. And then at that point I was done trading, right? Told myself I was done trading. Then I made the mistake of hopping back in the market, and then took another trade, and it went against me pretty good, which costed me about $4,000. So I then went red on the day by about $2,300. Then I saw another opportunity where I hopped back in with 6,000 shares, brought myself back up to I believe like $2,400 profit on the day. And then at that point, I'm like, you know what? Let's just hang out. We'll be done. We'll do some work. And then, of course, I seen another setup, took a stab at it, lost another like $1,300. That put me down to $800 profit on the day. And then I hopped back in on that same position to eventually finish my day up $2,000. So all in all, it was good trading up until I got hit and brought myself down to $1,800 on the day. So I'm gonna try and walk you through basically my whole trading day here. So all in all, it started off good. And then after I took a big hit, that's where I guess you could say a little bit of the emotions kicked in, and I broke some rules, and it almost costed me and put me down, $2,400 on the day after being up 3,500. So this is gonna be a good video to kind of show you how quickly you can turn a good day to a bad day and then bounce back. So few rules broken today, a little bit of some over trading going on. And it's okay to trade a lot as long as you're in control. After I hit my first big loss on the day. That's where the emotions kind of took over a little bit, and that's where I started making some mistakes. I was able to get it together, bounce back, so on and so forth. So let's take a look at the day. So I'm going to walk you through. This was my first trade on the day. So this isn't going to go in the whole specific order, but I'm going to kind of walk you through all my trades. So my first trade on the day was actually ABIL. So initially, ABIL kind of it's not initially right at the open. You can see I have this trend line drawn, right? You see this trend line from the high pre-market going down, and you can kind of see. Oh, let me grab my drawing tools 1 second. All right, so you can see here, right, from ABIL, the high pre-market trending down, kind of just following this trend down, and then right at market open, it broke over that trend line. When I seen it break over that trend line, I'm like, okay, this thing, oh, excuse me, let me get that off the chart. So once it broke through the trend line, I'm like, awesome, this thing's about to squeeze, this is gonna happen, so I'm like, let's do it. So as soon as it broke that trend line, I believe I hopped in with like 2,000, or it was either 2,000 or 3,000 shares right on this trend line break. It pops up, drops down, and at that point I'm like, this just isn't going to work. I gave it a second to hopefully bounce back, and then once it just wasn't recovering on this candle, I immediately started selling my 3,000 shares, and then with my big order of 3,000 shares, you get a little bit of slippage. That put me down about, I think I was down $700 on that trade. So I was immediately starting my day off negative $700. I did end up coming back and trading ABIL. What happened was later in the day, this wasn't my second trade, but later in the day, I noticed that ABIL was curling back around. I had missed it all through here, all through this portion of the trade. I wasn't even watching ABIL. It wasn't until ABIL hit my high day momentum scanner that I noticed it right about here. So at this point, once I noticed it here, I ended up coming over, and I think I took 3,000 shares long. You can see I traded a total like right here, 6,000. So I think it took 3,000 shares long at the high of this candle. It wasn't the best entry, but I knew that it was probably going to pop up a little bit, at least something to give me some money back. So I had a feeling it was going to pop. Because we started here, we did this U-shaped pattern, and then it kind of rebroke this trend line. So I knew at this point, that there were short sellers that were shorting ABIL from here and all the way down. So they were starting to get squeezed up. and that this could lead to a high a day breakout, which it did in fact happen. So I bought the high of this candle, anticipating the breakout over today's high from market open. And sure enough, I was right, but I had to wait. Once I bought the high of this candle, we dropped down, we bounced back up. So I had to wait for it to pop up. And then eventually I just sold out on the top of this candle right here for, I think it was about a $300 win or something close to that, because it brought my loss down from close to 750 down to 450 bucks. So I made a small winner there of like a couple $100, which ended up helping. So, so first trade, went long, trend line break, failed, ended up getting some slippage, sold out for a $700 loss. And then I watched it later in the day come back, curl over. It broke that trend line. I took this candle at the high, which wasn't the best entry for a breakout over the previous high from market open. We ended up squeezing. And so my entry was like right here. And then I sold out on the top of this candle for a quick win. All right, so that was okay trading. All right, now we'll go over to RHT. So RHT was on the watch list this morning as well. I did okay today, not really too great, but so RHT, this was on the morning pre-market watch list. We talked about it gapping down, and we said, watch out for shorts because it's right down at about 140, 141, and on the daily chart, you look here on the daily chart, it was right on the 200 moving average. So I didn't expect that it was really going to drop too much more. In fact, I was projecting that we'd most likely start bouncing off this 200 EMA level. So with that being said, after trading ABIL and losing, I turned my focus over to RHT. I didn't short RHT. Well, I did, but I was watching RHT, right? So I seen it, pop up, and then it got slammed down. This is where I knew short sellers were trying to push it down. And then all of a sudden we had this massive green candle come up and squeeze, 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 squeeze. So basically what happened here, let me get all these off, is all the short sellers that piled in on this red candle ended up getting immediately squeezed up on this one. And so what I did is by the time I caught it and noticed it and was able to get in, I took, what did I do? I took, only 650 shares? That's weird. Yeah, so I must have taken, for some reason, I don't know why I would have done that, who knows, but I jumped in apparently with 650 shares long, not here, but on this, the high of this candle. I watched this candle pop up, the squeeze candle. I took it long, 650 shares at the high of this candle. So again, not the best entry there. So trading was a little off today. Took it the high of this green candle, anticipating a break over the previous green, which would then further lead the squeeze up, which it did. So what happened was I took it long, 650 shares right there, and then I ended up selling out on the high of this candle. And I think that netted me, I think that trade netted me about a $500 win. So at this point, I was only down $200 on the day. So then I was watching, I'm like, okay, so we just squeezed, it was a short squeeze. What I think is going to happen is after this whole pop and run, after the short squeeze right here, all these green candles, once that ends, we're probably going to see a nice push to the downside because we popped over the 200 moving average on both of these candles. So this candle here and this candle here both popped over the purple line, which is the 200 moving average. Once they popped over, they quickly got sold right back down. So both of these candles created a tweezer top, is what we call that. Those two candles right there, that's a candlestick pattern called the tweezer top, which then usually would give a, what am I saying? It's a tweezer top. So after those happen, usually you're going to get a move to the downside. So I was watching this red candle to short. And as soon as I noticed it started going red and breaking below this purple line, the 200 moving average, I immediately shorted 1,000 shares. And as soon as I shorted, we got a quick drop all the way down to the red line here. So if I step back, I shorted this candle 1,000 shares and covered up at the bottom here at the VWAP and the 50 moving average for a $1,000 win, which then put me up $1,500 on the day. So at this point, I was green on the day. Things were going good, and it was all smooth sailing from there. Right, so then we move over, and this is where I had my next good trade, which was on IQ. All right, so I'm up $1,500 now. So we were watching IQ. This is specifically what we talked about. I mean, 100% what we talked about on the pre-market watch list. We said you can watch IQ long, but only, right? We said watch IQ long, but only take IQ if it can break over $40, which was this white line going across. And as you can see, it never broke $40. So you wouldn't want to take it long. So we said, watch it for a break over 40 to take it long. And if it doesn't break 40, right? If it doesn't break 40, you'll probably see it trickle up and test this $40 area. And if it fails, take it short. Well, I missed the beautiful short because I was too busy losing on ABIL and then winning on RHT. So I missed this awesome short. But again, it was straight off the pre-market watch list. So if you followed that, you would have been able to nail a perfect short today. Now, what I ended up trading on this was a couple times. And so you'll see how much fun I had until the end. So initially what I did when I first traded this was I watched it drop. Right? I'm watching this thing just sink, 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 sink. People are shorting, shorting, shorting. So I knew at some point there would probably be a bounce, which has happened right here. It wasn't a good bounce, but I still traded it. So at this point, you know, I'm watching this thing drop, 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 and I'm like, you know what? This thing's getting really oversold and extended to the downside. It's probably due to squeeze. So what I did is I ended up watching it. As soon as it got really extended, I ended up taking it long with 3,000 shares at the bottom of this green candle and sold out at the top of this green candle for about $1,000 win. So at this point, I'm doing pretty good. I'm up, I don't know, maybe closer to $2,000 profit on the day. So at this point, I'm like, awesome, this is working out well, pretty happy about it. Where I ended up losing some money was later here. Okay, so I'll tell you about this. So I ended up losing on this trade. But before we go there, we'll talk about KR, all right? We have KR. We'll talk about KR here. So again, I had a lot of trades, just kind of all over the place. Wasn't really happy with my trading day, but at least I finished green. So KR, I'll talk about this one. So I was watching KR, you know, I actually ended up taking a trade long on KR, like right here. I think it was on this candle. It popped red, it started going green. So I figured, you know, we might be going for a pullback and then a push higher to retest high a day. So I ended up taking a long there. Once I seen that it wasn't pushing higher, I immediately sold. I think that was like a $200 loss. And then what I ended up doing, so I took 3,000 shares long. I was 3,000 shares long here. As soon as this next red candle opened up and started failing, I immediately sold for like a couple $100 loss. It was like 200 bucks. And then I realized once KR popped up, you know, it came back up to here. And let me get my other drawing tool. Here we go. So once KR dropped down and then it pushed back up and it failed to break through $30, I knew at this point we were probably double topping. So then I ended up adding short 3,000 shares on this candle. This candle immediately drops down and I covered my 3,000 shares at the bottom of that candle for a quick scalp play that netted about $500 profit, because remember I was down about 200 prior on the stock. Then once I shorted it there with 3,000 shares, made 500 bucks. I was able to put myself $395 green on that trade. All right. Now we'll go over to GEVO. Okay, so here we go, GEVO. This was an early morning trade. I noticed that GEVO was, you know, hitting my scanner for a high a day. I ended up, by the time I caught GEVO, it was a little late. This candle already started squeezing up, but I seen it squeezing, right? I got in right at $10, basically. I noticed that GEVO was squeezing, and I'm like, you know what? This was straight off the watch list in the morning. I said specifically, watch for a short squeeze on GEVO this morning, and that's exactly what happened this morning. It went from $9 all the way to almost $11 for a 2-point squeeze right in the morning. So I ended up catching GEVO long, 3,000 shares, right at about $10. I noticed it was squeezing, so I played the break over $10. So GEVO pops over 10, I get long, next candle pops up, goes green, then it goes down. So I'm red on the trade, next, you know, it pops up, goes green. I think I ended up selling, honestly, somewhere in the middle of this candle just to lock in my profit, and made $911 there on GEVO today. So as you can see, my trading was all over the place today. Not one of my best days. It just is what it is, right? So kind of some silly trading, but ended up green, so it's okay. Yeah, so again, 911 bucks there on GEVO. So takeaway here is whenever you see, hold on, let me do it like this. Whenever you see a penny stock go from 3, squeeze all the way to 24, and then it comes crashing down this hard, that means there's a bunch of people short selling it. So eventually, when this stock starts to sideways consolidate and start trickling back up, all the short sellers that have been previously shorting the stock will get scared, and they will cause a massive squeeze, as you've seen happen right in the morning. So that's the takeaway, to play that short squeeze early in the morning. But the reason I took my trade was I waited and took the entry once it broke over the $10 mark, whole dollar mark, popped up a little more, ended up selling a little soon. Anyways, that's what happens. All right. RENN, what happened here? Okay, so for RENN, again, like I was just all over the place, having fun trading today, and so RENN popped up this morning, hit my high day momentum scanner. I missed, missed all of this, pretty much this action. So I was just watching it to see if it was going to pull back and go for another run, in which it tried to, and then ended up double topping and crashing. So what I did was I longed RENN, only made $324 on 6,000 shares, which is just like, it's basically peanuts. So anywho, I watched RENN, I was following it. As you can see, this little trend line I just drew, it broke over that. That's where I added 3,000 shares, and then this candle kind of dropped down. I added another 3,000 shares, so at this point I was 6,000 long, basically on this candle. It immediately pops up, pulls back, then the next candle opens up, pops up. As soon as it hit 260, I sold 3,000 shares. And next thing you know, it drops down. I sold another 3,000 shares to make 324 bucks, understanding that it was having trouble breaking through 260. We're most likely going to start coming down. So I immediately just exited all my, immediately exited all my 6,000 shares and didn't even risk the double top crash. So that one, only 324 bucks. And then this is where the chop show kind of begins, all right? So as you can see, my issue today was over trading. Once I hit my $3,500, over traded, and then it just turned into a spiral of okay trades, and it is what it is. Welcome to trading, right? So we'll talk about CDAC, right? So is it CDAC or CADC? There it is, CADC. So at this point, if I can give you a walkthrough of where I was at this point on CADC, I was up, I think it was up like $2,400 on the day. Yeah, I was up 2,400 bucks. All right. I watched CADC get halted. It opens up, it's hitting my high day momentum scanner. And I'm watching, I'm like, you know what? This thing moved from 5 all the way to almost $10 in a couple candles. I'm like, that's just some crazy good range. And I'm like, if I can nail a trade on this, I can make out big today. So I'm like, let's do it. So first thing I did was I longed CADC. So I got in at right here on the break over, $9. So I was playing the whole dollar break here over $9, entered 2,000 shares. By the time I got filled towards the top of the candle. Like, dang it. Again, not a good fill. Next thing you know, it pops up right to 950, can't break. It gets hammered down. I'm like, God, you gotta be kidding me, right? So I'm like, all right. So it gets hammered down. I don't sell as it's coming down because I would anticipate that we're at least gonna see a pullback off the 9 moving average. So what I did, knowing that we'd probably pull back off the 9 moving average and then maybe attempt another squeeze up, I added 2,000 shares on the low of this candle, anticipating a squeeze. Well, guess what? The next candle opens up, we go red. And then I'm like, still holding. I'm negative. I'm like, there goes all my gains for the day. At this point, I'm basically break even on the day. Next thing you know, the next candle opens up, it goes green for a second and then slams all the way down. With my 4,000 shares, I start exiting with slippage. That trade ended up being close to a $4,000 loser with slippage. So I was up 2,500 with the $4,000 loss. Actually, I was up a little less than that. By the time this trade ended, I put myself down $2,300 on the day. So I went from 3,500 positive down to like 2,000, then then down to 2,000 profit on the day, then down to negative 2,300 on the day. And at this point, I'm like, you're such an idiot, right? Well, though I'm an idiot, I somehow brought it back today. So I'm down like 2,300 at this point. And then I sold out, right? This candle's crashing, crashing, crashing. As soon as the candle gets right next to the VWAP, I looked at the level 2 and there was just a ton of people trying to buy it, just tons of people buying. And I'm like, you know what? This thing's going to squeeze. Not only did I know there was a lot of buying pressure, but I knew people were shorting it here, here, and here, and on this candle. So as soon as I seen all those buyers come in, I'm like, oh, wow, these short sellers are going to get squeezed out. This is my opportunity. So as soon as it got down to the low of this candle, I bought 2,000 shares. It popped up. I bought another 2,000 and another 2,000. So I added in 6,000 shares on the way up. The candle immediately squeezes all the way right back up to $9.70. And I sold all my 6,000 shares. So I brought myself down from being down $4,000 almost on the stock to a positive 660 at almost immediately. So at this point, I'm like, thank gosh, I'm back up to like, what did I do? I put myself back up $2,500 on the day after all that shit show right there. And I'm like, wow, you just got pretty fucking lucky. I'm not gonna lie, it was lucky that it happened so quickly. It wasn't luck of the draw that I was able to make that trade. You know, I noticed level 2, I understood short sellers would squeeze out, and it had a possibility of a big squeeze. So I took it again, and I made out. So again, am I proud about today? Not really. It was a $2,000 profitable day, all on basically choppy setups after I was already profitable. So mistakes were definitely made today, and you learn from them. And you guys are learning from them right now. So the takeaway here was I bought in pretty heavy on a stock that wasn't trading a lot of volume, and I took a pretty high entry on that candle. Adding here wasn't necessarily a bad idea because it was the dip, but you know, there was no squeeze. The squeeze didn't happen until after I'd lost money. So all in all there, buying high is usually never the right way to go. It is what it is, right? Now, the last crappy trading setups that I have to talk to you about before we end this humiliating video was on IQ. So like, right, so these were my last trades on the day, right? I'm up like 2,500. I watch IQ pop all the way up to this 200 moving average, and I'm like, you know what? This thing's gonna reject the 200 moving average, and it's gonna come crashing down at least. So I add in 4,000 shares short on that red candle. It pops down. I'm up a couple $100, and then immediately, boom, squeezes all the way up. So by the time I actually got filled, so let me actually clarify this. Let me delete that off. So by the time I actually got filled on this setup, it was like right in the middle of this candle with 4,000 shares short. By the time I could totally get filled, we're short 4,000 shares right in the middle of that red candle. Next candle opens up, squeezes all the way up. My stop was gonna be just above the previous candles, squeezed all the way back up. I lost like $800 on that. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, right? So at this point, I'm getting emotional because I'm going back and forth, back and forth. I know I can trade better. Why the hell am I not doing so well? And it's pretty obvious. I got emotional after losing some money today. So I'm like, God dang it, you're an idiot. Anywho, so then, you know, that put me down, you know, back to about $1,000 on the day. After losing that, I'm like, you just got to be kidding me, right? You know, and this is just me over trading, getting emotional, and you know, I know the setup is there. I just jumped the gun a little too early on it. So once this candle popped back up and then it started rolling over, I'm like, this is the entry I should have taken. So then I reshort 4,000 shares. Oh, let me a reshort 4,000 shares, that red candle on the break below the 200 moving average. We instantly go red another candle, slam down to here, and I covered up my 4,000 shares for about $1,000 win to finish my day up about $2,000 on the day, which is right there, $2,205 profit. And as you can see here, I'll label all the tickers traded. So lost $451 on ABIL, made $660 on CDAC, $911 on GEVO. I lost $1,900 on IQ. Wait, is that right? Yeah, $1,900 on IQ. I made $395 on KR, $324 on RENN, and $1,500 on RHT. So you can see if I didn't get emotional or have any of these bad trades, my day could have been far greater than what it was. So the takeaway here is trading is an emotional game, and you can get lost and you can make some choppy trades when you're aggravated and frustrated. That usually comes after losing some money. So the takeaway is to always try your best to manage your emotions, which I did an okay job with today. I overtraded, and overtrading is only a problem when you're emotional, which clearly I was today. Overtrading is subjective, and overtrading only is really a problem if you're emotional and you're not consistent. You can trade throughout the whole day if you wanted to, as long as you're consistent. So usually for me, what happens is I can trade quite a few tickers and I can trade quite a few positions and be completely fine if my consistency is good. But if I start to lose, get emotional, that's when I start taking very erratic positions and uneducated positions. I don't say uneducated, but dumb positions that you clearly seen that I did in this video. Now, I'm not going to boast here, but if I weren't as skilled of a trader as I am, I can almost guarantee you this would have resulted in a very, very negative day from the overtrading and emotional side effect that I was experiencing today. So again, if you're not very skilled or haven't been doing it for a while, most people would never been able to bounce back like I did after the choppy trading. So again, am I proud about today? Not at all. Was this a good video to show you guys? Yeah, it was, because it can show you just how shitty your trading day can go once you get emotional, right? A lot of people won't post a video like this showing the chop fest that really can happen throughout a trading day. So again, I'll try and upload these as I see fit or can. Again, I don't do it every single day because necessarily I don't have the time, but here is a great example of what emotional trading can do to you when you get frustrated and start losing some money. So main takeaway is don't do what I did today. All right, just call your day in when you make $3,500. For me, when I stop trading, it's usually when I'm pretty consistent, and then once I start falling off and I'm not seeing consistency where I make a loss and I make another loss, that's usually when I cut it out. It's when I start losing, that's clearly when I'm not making the right decisions, and that's when I should stop. If I'm winning, then yeah, I don't really have a point to stop trading because clearly I'm consistent, and this is the day for me to win big, which was yesterday. Yesterday was a day where I was just, money was rolling, ball was rolling, I was making the trades perfect, all the way up until about $8,000. So this could have almost been that day, but you know, things happen. So hope you guys like the video. You can always comment any questions below. But there concludes my trading day for today. This is Friday. We'll be starting a new week. So all in all, this week alone, I will be sitting up at 6,000 minus 3,000. So 6,000, 7,000, 3,008. So I'm sitting up just, what am I at? Hold on, let me do some math here. Check my board. So today that will put me up. So we had 6,000 Monday profit, then we lost 3,000 Tuesday, then we made 1,000 on Wednesday, so 3, 4, then we made 8,000 on Thursday, so that's 12. So that'll put me up $14,000 profit on this week of trading. So not bad, could have been better, it is what it is, and I will see you guys all come Monday morning for another pre-market watch. As always, make sure to stay tuned into those. All right, guys, take care.